Hello, everyone, and welcome to EVTN News. And once again, I have been proven right. In the past, I have told you that I am not a prophet, and I've proven that again this week. So, in last week's episode, in last week's news, I said I didn't think there would be a busy news week last week, and it turns out that is wrong. It was completely wrong. There has been crazy news, and so now let's discuss. And as always, feel free to share your opinions. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. But John Henry Westen has been fired by Lifesitenews. He's been forced out. He is no longer the CEO and editor-in-chief following a recent board vote. In the same time, around the same time, maybe just slightly thereafter, Stephen Cox was forced to announce that he is no longer employed by Lifesitenews, and so they let him go as well. And he had been, I guess, critical of Pope Leo, and so he's gone. And Micah Hickson, I believe her husband, recently passed away, maybe like a year ago or so, and she quit. She turned in her resignation after John Henry Westen was fired. So I do want to go to a now deleted post by Steve Jalsevec, although there is, and the internet never forgets. Okay, let me see. I've definitely used the delete feature on Twitter, but it's usually been the correct typos. Okay. Let's see. All right, I'm just going to read this post by Steve Jalsevec, who is I guess he's the co-founder of Lifesitenews. He said that is just what John Henry may have wanted to believe. It is completely false. Lifesitenews has been a close team of many talented persons who created what was an incredibly successful international pro-life, pro-family news service. None of that could have happened without all those people and their valuable contributions. Okay. This is really rambling. In recent years, John Henry worked and insisted that we change the highly successful Lifesitenews mission to become a dramatically different one of a traditional Latin Mass Catholic evangelizing religious organization to draw readers into the Catholic Church according to the teachings of the Council of Trent. Founding board members Jim Hughes, myself, and others strongly oppose this change, which we believe would tremendously confuse our loyal readers and subscribers and most new people as to what Lifesitenews really was because of the schizophrenic messaging that the new mission statement presented. Okay. A large majority of subscribers and readers were not traditional Latin Mass Catholics, or not Catholic at all, and that the change to Lifesitenews would appeal to a far narrower audience, since the target audience that John Henry, that cut off anyway. Yeah. Okay, sadly, John Henry was able to arrange a board vote that outnumbered those who never thought that they would have to vote on such a dramatic change. Oh, so there's some kind of change that was cut off. Let me see. Yeah, I can't. Okay, anyway. One of those board members was wholly responsible for encouraging and paying for Lifesitenews to incorporate in the United States, and was a very generous donor and constantly active supporter in many other ways. Okay, Lifesite will not die because it has always had strong appeal. Let's see. Our fears about the dangers of the dramatic mission change have proven to have been valid. Readership has plummeted, Many have been dismayed by the change. LifeSite has been widely viewed as a Sedeve contest website, and donations have dramatically declined this past campaign. Okay, so that's what the bottom line is. Without major needed change, Lifesitenews cannot survive. With common sense return to the incredibly successful founding mission, um, and a return to collaborative management rather than top-down one-person control, it stands very good chance for the renewal for the good of all. Okay, so basically they're saying get away from the Latin Mass stuff and focus more on pro-life stuff because um, not everyone goes to Latin Mass, and they want to get as much money as possible from subscribers. That's a business model, right? It's a business, and whenever you're losing money, and people are gonna look at this, and I'm gonna still follow LifeSite. Like I'm not gonna alienate them. I don't donate money to any of these websites. I donate money to monasteries and traditional religious communities, I guess I would say. I don't feel like I don't I don't know. I don't really feel I need to donate money to these these news organizations. Someone will find a way to get the information out. I mean, that's just me. So, um, anyway, let's see. Uh, so that's my thought on Lifesitenews. I think it was a business move. Maybe they were losing. I mean, I believe Steve Jalsovic when he says that the subscriber base had declined and they were not getting as much donations. Although it is a tight economy. I mean, it's kind of that's just how it works. Um, so so there's that. Okay. For the future of Lifesitenews, though, I don't know. I think it was a bad business decision. Now, my thoughts on John Henry Westen. I never really followed his stuff very much. I followed Lifesitenews, but not John Henry in particular. In fact, I wasn't a fan of his prophecy chasing, apparition chasing, prophecy chasing. I don't, I wasn't a fan of that. There's quite a bit of that, and everything was sensationalist. Like the headlines were always kind of clickbaity, and I never really was a fan. So, but Lifesitenews, I report on a lot of their articles. So again, I'm not going to discontinue doing that, and I don't know how much their their shift will. I don't know how much they'll actually shift their their news site. I don't know how much they'll shift it. I don't think it will be much of a shift. I think just letting John Henry go on his own will probably not change a whole lot, honestly, on their reporting. As for John Henry Weston, I'm not worried about what he's going to do because he has he has a lot of big time fans, and this isn't like a scandal like the Michael Voris scandal. This is just a business decision of letting a popular figure go, and he's going to go and do his own thing, and people are going to support him, and that's the nature of the business. That's how the business works. So I'm not going to actually pick a side. I think it might have been. I think it's going to hurt Lifesitenews. I mean, that's if I had to predict again, but getting back to that, my predictions. Just look what happened last week. I predicted that this would be a slow news week, and it wasn't. So maybe Lifesitenews is going to be highly successful. I think in this economy, it's going to be tough. They're trying to focus less on the Latin Mass and more on pro-life stuff. Well, there you go. Your EWTN, although it's on a lower scale. So, I mean, how do you differentiate yourself from the other media entities, and I wonder if LifeSite is going to be able to differentiate themselves from other entities. Now, if they're laying off or firing a big, a prominent member of their staff, then presumably they're saving a little bit of money in salary, so maybe they'll redirect that money somewhere else. I don't know. But Michael Haynes from Lifesitenews always seems to have the scoop in Rome, and he's still on Lifesite. And they had Bishop Strickland write a quick letter of support and say like, "Hey, Lifesitenews is great. No one talk about it. Ignore the man behind the curtain." And I think that might have actually made it worse. Um, but yeah, okay, that's what it is. Okay, let's see here. All right, and I'm not sure. All right. Let's see. All right, let's move on. Because there's a lot more stories to report rather than media changes. Oh, okay. So there was breaking news today, and I'm not going to report. I mean, I'm just going to mention it, and then you'll see. There was Voice of Reason and someone else. I think it's called Wretched Saints that were involved in some kind of major scandal. And if you want to find out more about that, go on Twitter now. Voice of Reason was on Matt Fradd's channel, and he basically excommunicated all the trads, even though he left the Novus Ordo to attend a Byzantine Rite parish. So, yeah, there's that. And I just, I just wonder, with the lay apologetics and any, like, people who excommunicate other people, I don't know. Like, I know there's the one commentator who became really popular because he criticized Taylor Marshall, and he still has a channel, which is really unfortunate because he shouldn't, no one should give him the time of day to even listen to any of his stuff. And if you're just listening to someone's stuff just to criticize them, don't listen to it. Don't give them the view. There's no reason to do that. I mean, there's a lot of people with a lot of bad takes out there, and I don't know. I'm not an apologetics guy. I try to just report on the news, and of course there's going to be some opinions, but that's just how it works. Oh, also today is the anniversary of Quo Primum, so happy anniversary to Quo Primum. And let's see. All right, so moving back to the news, Archbishop Guy Andre Marie de Caramel of the Archdiocese of Toulouse, Saint Bertrand de Comminges-Rieux in France, appointed on June 2nd Father Dominique Spina as the Chancellor and Episcopal Delegate for Marriages in the Toulouse Archdiocese. In 2006, Spina was convicted of a 1993 rape of a 16-year-old boy and was sentenced to 5 years in prison. According to a statement obtained by French news outlets, Caramel said that he has taken the side of mercy in regards to Father Spina. So it's the Francis Church of Mercy again, all over. He said in a statement, Bishop Caramel said in a statement, released on July 7th, Spina no longer exercises any pastoral responsibility other than that of celebrating the Eucharist alone or exceptionally for the faithful. Considering that we have nothing to reproach this priest for over the past 30 years for acts likely to be the subject of legal proceedings, canonical or civil, I have therefore chosen to appoint him to this administrative function. So basically, he's on our payroll, and so we're giving him a job. All right, so I think there was the Pillar who said this will be a challenge for Leo to see exactly where he stands on this kind of nonsense, this kind of and of course, you know, the criminal action took place. Yes, it took place over 30 years ago, but that doesn't mean that you can just feel free to reinstate these priests. Yeah, not good. Really not good. All right, so moving away from pervs and getting into Sunday Mass obligation. So, in an unprecedented move, Bishop Joseph Nuzik of Czech Republic has pronounced the temporary suspension of Sunday obligation due to the shortage of priests in his diocese. He wants to help those who have a serious problem with attending the Sunday Eucharist, which should be dispensed anyway if it was extremely difficult for you to attend Mass. So this is a false premise. Monsignor Nuzik permits to replace the Eucharist with personal devotion, praying as a family, or watching a service via television, internet, or radio. So there you go. Now I wonder if they'll suspend the obligation due to the shortage of Latin masses that they canceled. No. But this is the first I've heard about it. Our bishop has publicly... Now, I don't know for a fact that every bishop has reinstated the Sunday obligation after the virus shutdown. Yeah. Okay. I do see my videos lagging a little bit, so if there's any problems, let me know. All right. Bishop Alberto Rojas of the Diocese of San Bernardino, California, wrote, "All members of the faithful in the Diocese of San Bernardino who, due to genuine fear of immigration enforcement actions, are unable to attend Sunday Mass or Masses on holy days of obligation are dispensed from this obligation as provided for in Canon 1247 until such time as this diocese is revoked or amended." Decree, until such time as this decree is revoked or amended. So he's dispensing illegal immigrants who are afraid of getting caught by authorities from attending Mass. And, you know, it's kind of funny that we were dispensed from we were dispensed from attending Mass during the virus shutdown, of course. But someone posted, this was very interesting, someone posted online, they said, "Wow, Catholics are forced underground. This is terrible." And I said, well, you know, we were forced underground in 2020, and then Latin Mass Catholics were forced underground in 2021. So welcome to the club. Okay. Father David Andel told so-called LMNOP Catholics during a sermon for the Diocese of San Bernardino, going back to San Bernardino's first ever Family Pride Mass last month, that God is proud of LMNOP Catholics and their families. Andel, a priest in the diocese, emphasized during his homily that God loves and is proud of Catholics who identify as LMNOP, as well as their families, for persevering in their faith despite so-called persecution, for the diocesan news outlet. In the June 28th Mass, which was celebrated at St. John Bosco Mission, was organized by Embrace, the diocese's official LMNOP ministry, to add a so-called Catholic dimension to Pride Month to remind Catholics who identify as LMNOP and their families that they are welcome in the Church. In an email to Lifesitenews, Andel defended his decision to celebrate the Family Pride Mass by likening it to a parish celebrating Mass or commemorating Mardi Gras or New Year's Eve, modern celebrations of which are often marked by vice. Pride Month is a secular creation and sometimes may be marked with vice. Andel wrote, "We wanted LMNOP Catholics and their families to have a spiritual alternative, and so they did the same thing instead of providing like a Sacred Heart Mass or something. Part of the reasoning for this Mass was to give LMNOP Catholics an alternative opportunity to celebrate it in a different way. He said, I hope that if 2 months from now someone asks an LMNOP Catholic, how would you celebrate Pride Month, they will answer, I went to Mass with my family. I don't think that's what any of them are going to say. I think they're going to say something a little bit more radical. But anyway, this priest kind of, it's an interesting spin on things, I guess you could say. And the Diocese of San Bernardino and Bishop Rojas seems like he's behind it. And just adding to the and I will say this is marked with confusion. Pope Leo appointed Monsignor Thomas Hennon, age 47, as the new Bishop of Baker, Oregon, USA. A priest of the Diocese, I think it's Baker, Oregon, a priest of the Diocese of Davenport, former priest now. He served as Vicar General since 2020 and as Rector of the Cathedral since 21 under Biden Archbishop Thomas Zinkula. So that's kind of questionable. A decade ago, Monsignor Hennon worked with the conservative apostolate Courage that helps people with LMNOP disorder to live chastely. However, the more he met with people who are generous identified, he came to understand them better and how they were feeling, he said in a November 2021 interview, adding that his approach to the issue has evolved. His appointment was praised by New Ways Ministry, yet people on Twitter are saying this is a great appointment because he used to work with Courage, and there was one time when he celebrated the traditional Mass. So, which is it? Is he supportive of LMNOPs? Is he supportive of their lifestyle, or does he oppose it? Is he a friend of the Latin Mass, or did he just say it like once on a one-off thing? And I don't think we're going to find answers very quickly right away. And unfortunately, these people really need to come clean and tell us, these new bishops need to come clean and tell us what their opinions are actually in regards to these pressing Catholic issues. Because the culture says one thing, the Francis Church says the same thing, and the traditional Catholic morality says the complete opposite. So, are you with the Francis Church or with the Catholic Church? And now, what is the Leo Church going to look like? Is it going to look like just a more sneaky version of the Francis Church? Well, Leo appointed Reverend Michel Gouliard on July 11th as Bishop of Constantine Hippone, Algeria. Born in 1961 and ordained as a priest in the Diocese of Lyon in 1990, he dedicated his ministry to Arabic and Islamic studies. So a Catholic priest studying Islam. Okay. Since 2015, he has served as the secretary of the Regional Episcopal Conference of Northern Africa. In this role, he co-worked a notable statement aimed at challenging the narrative that Africa as a whole is against the LMNOP blessings. Monsignor Gouliard admitted in October 2024 that in North African societies, LMNOP unions are inconceivable. The positive reception of Fiducia Supplicans is therefore more theoretical than practical, he said, but nonetheless he is a supporter of it. And Leo just appointed him as bishop to a new diocese. In fact, I think this is his first bishop appointment. So this is what the Leo bishops are looking like. Very pro LMNOP blessings. So very sad, very, very sad. Okay, the former diplomat Monsignor Carlo Alberto Capella, who was convicted for possessing and distributing child pornography in 2018, has been quietly reintegrated into the Vatican's inner circles, reports Info Vaticana. In August 2017, the U.S. State Department alerted Vatican authorities that Monsignor Capella was suspected of violating U.S. child pornography laws. The U.S. pushed for prosecution, but France's Vatican shielded Capella through diplomatic immunity. That's the Francis Church for you. Francis brought Capella back to the Vatican and opted to try and imprison him there. During the Vatican trial in 2018, Capella acknowledged guilt. He was sentenced to 5 years in a Vatican prison consisting of 3 jail cells in the Gendarmerie building. As of 2021, he was allowed out during the day to work in an office that sells papal blessings. I don't actually know what that means, but he was allowed out of jail to work, which is basically what I got from that sentence. And Info Vaticana received an update this past week. The reinsertion of this criminal has not consisted in taking care of his elderly mother in a remote parish, but in living in San Benedetto, the residence destined for nuncios, a few meters from where Pope Leo himself resides. So he's living near Pope Leo, and this is just another measure of the Perp Church. It's really disgusting, but it's really sad what's becoming of the Leo Church. I don't like the direction he's going, especially with his bishop appointments. And as the days and weeks go along, it seems as though we're not getting any better bishops. We're not getting any bishops that are any better than what Francis was appointing. I don't want to say that. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they are slightly better, but that's really disappointing bar. That's a pretty low bar, I guess you would say. So they're not McCarrick enablers. Maybe. Maybe there are some. I just don't know about it. It's pretty sad. Anyway, okay. Well, that is the big news for the week. So John Henry Westen no longer with Lifesitenews. Lay apologists, I guess you would say. I didn't realize how big of a field that is. I guess there are some popular people, and they might be on Instagram, and I'm not, and maybe that's to my detriment. I don't know. I mean, in terms of getting numbers, but I just kind of call it like it is. I don't really talk too much about drama. I kind of report on the news and just see where things are going. I would really like to report on news every week about new Latin Mass communities popping up, which there was one in. This is actually really funny. Did I talk about it last week? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. It's really funny, but and I think it's Oswego, New York is what it's called. It's north of Syracuse, 45 minutes north. The Institute of Christ the King has taken over a church there. The bishop invited them in to take over a church. And this is the same diocese where the priest let an LMNOP man-woman speak. So it was a woman who's pretending to be a man during the give the homily at an LMNOP mass. So the bishop who's supposedly tolerating this priest celebrating disorder invited to the Institute of Christ the King in. So it's kind of a weird dynamic, but I don't know. I guess we'll take what we can get. So that's one positive thing. And people are saying, oh, Pope Leo has to reinstate the Latin Mass. And he should, but there's been no indication that he will. I mean, people say, oh, there's the liturgy wars are so intense that he needs to do it. But again, there's been no indication that he will. So until he does, his record is what it is. And that's appointing bishops that are supportive of LMNOP blessings. And Biden bishops in the United States, that's so far his record. And it's sad to say. And show me, don't tell me. And right now, he's showing us. So, change my mind. I hope he changes my mind. I hope he starts appointing good bishops and does a complete 180 And if he does, then I'll report on it. And if he doesn't, I'll still report on it. So, this has been EVTN News. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, we are the laity, and we will not be silent.